So thus far, all of our grouping has been on data frames. Believe it or not, you can actually use the group by series method. It does exist and it works similarly. So let's take a look. Let's look at our data. And again, let's do trip duration. We'll just assign it to a variable. So TD is a series and it does have a group by, and you're thinking like, well, what can I possibly group by here? Well, one thing to group by is what we just learned about is a column. It doesn't appear in the series. So, so yeah, let me show you that. So we did temp, right? So the temperature quantiles over here. So you can group by that. And then you can just take the mean and it'll just apply on, there's only one thing you can aggregate. It's the series values itself. So you don't choose an aggregating column because you're aggregating the series itself. So that is one difference. You can of course call agg and do many aggregations at once like this. So that also works. And again, we're grouping by a column that's not in the data frame, right? Or not in this, it's not in the series, of course. So we're just grouping this series and we're passing in a series to act as the grouping columns. All right, another thing you can do is you can actually group by the index level. So I actually need to create a data frame that has multiple index levels. So I'm going to group by over here gender, and let's just say events over here. And this time, let me just aggregate temperature, and just so I can get a column. So this is going to be the average temperature by gender and event. So female riders, when it's clear, have this average temperature, 61 degrees. Male riders, when it's raining, it is about 57 degrees on average for all of those rides. All right, so I'm going to save this to a variable s. So this is actually a series. It's a multi-index series, so it's 2 index levels. These technically are not columns, though they sort of act like columns. So we can actually group by the levels over here, and you can actually just use the name of the level. So if you press Shift Tab Tab, it does say by. What do you want to group by? Well, let's just group by gender. So it really just acts just like the data frame group by. And then the aggregation is going to be on these values. So you don't specify a column to aggregate because there's only one set of values to aggregate. So we can just take the mean of all of these values right here for each gender. And there you go. We can also aggregate by events. That's the other column. Like that. Index levels also, you can use this level parameter. You can give it a number over here, 0 or 1. That just corresponds to gender and then events. So they start at 0 over here and count up by 1. But typically, if it has a name, if the index does have a name, just give it that name to aggregate. All right, so you can group series objects. You either have to group it by the index level or by another series.